welcome to the Entre Nous. Today we are joined by Arlen Solodkin. Did I pronounce good, Arlen, your surname?
Perfectly
Perfect.
well.
One of the most prominent voices in the field of holistic well-being in Latin America. She is the founder of the Instituto de Bienestar Integral, creator of the international event Hope Circuit, a faculty member at the Happiness Study Academy, and a leading figure in positive psychology, practical spirituality, and impactful leadership. Her works weaves together science, purpose, and both personal and collective transformation. Thank you very much, Arlen, for being here. Thank you for your time. It is a pleasure to have you here. And this is
Thank you, Lara, for the invitation and for creating this amazing space to get to know each other.
Thank you, Arlen. Well, Arlen, my first question, what was that moment in your life when you clearly felt this is what I want to dedicate myself to?
Well, I think I could go back to my childhood in some ways because I remember as a child feeling very sensitive about everything that was happening around in the world and really longing for peace. I remember wishing for peace since I was very young. And that sensitivity took me, in my life to places where I was always thinking, where can I add something? Where can I make a difference? And especially to release or reduce suffering. And so I studied social work, I studied psychology, I studied healing, something that I not often talk about here, but I studied healing for many, many years. And I devoted many years of my life to philanthropic work. But I think a key point for me was when, by coincidence, I ended up studying at the University of Pennsylvania, where I met Marty Seligman. Yeah. And the course that I took was psychopathology, actually. And this was before the field of positive psychology was born. But he was already teaching about optimism and about learned optimism in contrast of learned pessimism. And I was captivated, and that was a key moment for me because I felt, how can we as humans learn the tools not only to help us cope or or get better after something bad has happened, but to prevent mental illness or suffering is present in life, right? That's a condition that is always present, but how can we equip people and children to really learn tools that will help them deal with everything that life has to offer to them? So that was a very important moment for me.
That's amazing. And how was the Hope Circuit born? And why did you choose to center it around hope?
Yes, so the Hope Circuit was born out of since I started learning from Seligman, I was always captivated by his teachings. And of course, when I met Tal, I was captivated by his teachings as well. And I have felt that positive psychology has focused mainly on personal well-being. The main emphasis is how can you become better as a person and live a better life and more meaningful. But the focus on community well-being has been much smaller. It's recently gaining more speed and attention.
Yeah.
But for me, I am always trying to see how the person fits in the larger context, or how the larger context fits within us, in our hearts. And one of the key elements that motivated me to create this Hope Circuit was that I felt people have felt very helpless in terms of the impact they have, the real impact they can have in the world.
Mhm.
And for years, I've been teaching a course on social well-being. And one of the things that I've learned and I have taught is the power of the bystanders, because choosing to act it's important, and
Yeah.
we don't think that choosing not to act is
Mhm.
also a choice, and it's also in our
Exactly.
hands. So my idea was, if we all realize the immense power that we have to impact
Mhm.
our communities, the world around us, in small and large ways,
Mhm.
and if we are able to break out from this helplessness and become hopeful about, what we can do to make our lives better,
Yeah.
uh, it's very important. So I wanted to create a conference and a movement where people realize that they can do something to change the world around them,
Mhm.
the world at large. And that's how this was born. Seligman talks about the importance of self-efficacy, optimism, and imagination for
Yeah.
human progress to exist. And I think that involves the common good. And for me, that's I think a message and an action that I want to share with more people.
Yeah, it is amazing what each of us can do, and we don't realize that because sometimes we think that the things that we do don't have any impact, right?
Don't matter.
But
Yeah.
don't matter, but actually it matters and it's important. Hope Circuit, I hope I'm waiting for the conference that you have in May, right? It's the 6th of May, I think you have
Our webinar. Yes,
yeah, the
you're raising
webinar.
that. Yes.
I'm waiting for that, and I hope to be in one of the Hope Circuit, meetings, because it's very important to get together. It's so powerful when we get together and we have that emotions and we know each other, and it's just, for me, it's like we are giving power to something completely different than what the world it's now. It's like giving
Yes.
love and solidarity, friendship, and it's amazing
Yes. It's
what we
it's
can do getting together.
Yes, I think it's magical, and one of the like big surprises that I've had after the Hope Circuit is that some people have written to me sharing, I implemented and I decided to implement a day for hope in the
Yeah.
workplace, and I'm gonna implement this for 1,000 employees.
Yeah.
And then I got a call from a very important business leader in a state in the
Mhm.
north of Mexico, who said, I kept on thinking, and I started meeting with other leaders,
Mhm.
business and political leaders, to see what
Mhm.
we can do in our state to put in action what I learned in the Hope Circuit. And I was really completely surprised by this phone call, for example.
Yeah.
So it was a place for learning about your own power to affect change in your community. And I think many people have really taken that at heart and
Yes.
have begun also taking these learnings and applying them into social change and social well-being.
It's amazing all the ideas that I read, when I read the groups, because we have different groups, and what people is doing and how they are doing it. It's just amazing. It's
Incredible.
it opens like a new world, and you just feel with the emotion of I have to do something, and that's
Yes,
what it's all about, right?
exactly. That is amazing, and I think that is one of the main learnings that I have gotten out of being part of this amazing community.
And you are part of the Happiness Study Academy alongside Tal Ben Shahar. And what has it meant for you to be part of this global well-being community?
Well, it has been a blessing in my life, and it has been a humbling experience to see actually how people have been applying and transforming their lives with the teachings that Tal has made available for everyone. Um, it has been also very meaningful for me to see what Tal has been able to create in this community, because I had the privilege of studying with him. I don't know, 14 years ago or something, when I took the certificate in positive psychology, it was called back then. And then I said, I want to bring this to Latin America. And of course, he didn't know me. And we started talking, and there was this possibility to bring the certificate to Mexico and to the Spanish-speaking world. And then see the transformation of his vision to become something as large as what it is today, and even larger, because I know it will become larger. And to see him through the years, that has been also very meaningful for me. Something I think he has broken the ceiling, of course, in many ways, but I remember a conversation we had before, well, when he was founding with Yuval the Happiness Studies Academy, and I was questioning the use of the word happiness.
Uh-huh.
Because, as he has shared
Yeah.
before, some people have questions. Is this serious enough? Is this a field of work? Is this a field of study?
Mhm.
And he was very, he held his opinion very strongly and his belief. And now he has really opened the doors around the world for people to study what life is really all about. So it's
Yeah.
been wonderful.
Well, I remember having a meeting with you because I was undecisive if I take I had two things in my hand. I had the happiness study and also I have something else. And the other one was like more, it felt like more professional, not the word happiness.
Yes.
And I remember saying, "Oh my God, this, what can I use this?" I was questioning myself, and I asked you, to have a meeting to try to explain to me how can I use this, and now I know that this you can use everywhere, in your life, in your work, in everything, every minute of your life.
So that question that
Personally,
you had, sorry, I interrupted
no,
you.
no, 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 that's okay.
So that question that you asked me was the question that I asked Tal many years ago, and now
Yeah.
I understand as well. So yeah.
Yeah. And what key learnings has your experience as a teacher as at HSA given you? One that impact you even on a personal level.
I think one of the main teachings has been about self-empowerment. I think I have seen over and over again how people in the program exceed their own expectations.
Mm.
They break the ceilings of their own beliefs through new habits, through new possibilities. And many people who have shared with me uh, some difficult moments that that brought them to the program or that they encounter once they are in the program, and some of these difficulties that arise just because of life and life situation.
Yes, of course.
And I see how many of them are able to reconnect, to feel joy in their lives, and to feel their lives matter in moments where they feel helpless, or they, after feeling an important loss, or feeling completely disconnected because they have lost their job or a change in their lives. So this program really gives them a way to feel empowered and to feel connected to life. And that, for me, has been one of the greatest um, experiences that I've had um, as part of this community. And of course, in this role of being part of the faculty, which allows me to listen and for people to come to me and ask for, for questions, or
Like
to
I did.
share their, yes, or to share their lives with me in a more personal way. And this has been an incredible experience. I feel very humbled about it.
And what does spiritual well-being mean to you? And how do you integrate it in your everyday life without disconnecting from the real world?
Well, I find interesting your question about not disconnecting from the real world. So for me, um, spiritual well-being means to live in purpose, and it means to connect to something larger than myself, of course.
Mhm.
And and that means behaving with integrity and with intention, because I feel the power of intention and our intentionality is rooted in the spiritual world, because each of us has and I don't want to talk about purpose in this huge category that is very difficult to to get to or to
Yeah.
bring to life, but I do believe that each of us has something that moves us deep within, and living with intention allows us to take action and to
Mhm.
be very like purposeful, you know?
Yeah.
So so it's you mentioned spirituality and yes, and the purpose in
Well-being,
life.
spiritual well-being. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think it has to do with intention, because our thoughts and our longings are deeply rooted
Yeah.
in who we are. And if we are able to sustain that throughout our lives, I think that becomes beautiful, a beautiful manifestation of who we are. So that that is what I
Yeah.
what I feel.
Wonderful, Arlene.
Intention rooted in action. Intention has to be rooted in action,
In action.
because it's
Exactly.
not only the intent, but it's really the like keeping your intention going even in the midst of difficulties, even in
Exactly.
the midst of failure. It's sustaining your intention to do good in the world, sustaining your intention to bring joy to others, or to to be of service to humanity.
Perfect. Perfect. And what obstacles have you encountered as a woman leading transformational spaces? And how did you turn them into strength?
Well, I have to say that I have felt some discrimination as a woman, in some universities, in some business
Mhm.
meetings, but my tendency in some in some way has been to rely in my inner power and my intuition.
Mhm.
And I really believe that the biggest barrier that we have as women is our inner conversation.
Yeah.
Because many times we feel small, even if others don't see us small.
Yeah.
Many times we feel that we are not capable enough when we are among men, for example. But it's not that they believe that we are less powerful. It's just the way we interpret who we are. And I remember hearing Sheryl Sandberg, who served as chief operating officer in Facebook,
Yeah.
in one of her conferences, and also Margarita Zavala, who ran for president of Mexico many years ago. And both of them said, in some different ways, but both of them said that when it comes to having a space available, like a powerful position opening up for in companies or governments, women do not sit on the table. They uh, they prefer, in like maybe unconsciously, not to take a powerful role. And I think we need to start sitting in the table, and we need to start changing our inner conversations, because the world has changed. I don't think that the world is completely fair. And I do think that there are many um, examples of discrimination against women. But I believe that we need to change our inner dialogue, and that will help us take those positions of power, and that will teach us that we can.
Yeah.
So
That
instead
is
of
so true.
battling outside, we need
Outside.
inside. We need to do a lot of
Exactly.
work inside.
Exactly. Just change the inner dialogue, because that sometimes, like you said, we think that somebody is thinking that we are not capable of doing something, and actually is us with that internal dialogue, that we feel like we are not capable, or the imposter syndrome, and we prefer just to step back instead of going forward and show what we are capable of, because I don't know, it's just a mindset thing, and we have to start changing that, like you say.
Yes, I mean, it is a reality that
Yeah.
women in general face a lot of obstacles,
Yeah.
but we need to shift the focus on what is under our control, and
Yeah.
that's our inner power. And that might mean also at some point facilitating the way for others outside, or teaching about what it feels to be a woman, or
Mhm.
like I know that there is a beautiful book written by one of the alumni of HSA, that it's
Yeah.
leading like a girl. And I
Ah,
think,
oh yeah, I read. Yeah.
yeah, so that is a beautiful example as well of, how to embrace our power as women and feel the strength that we have to lead.
Yes, I read something about it in one of the groups that we have,
Yes,
about this book. I'm going to look for that.
yes, it's a beautiful book.
And Arlene, what has been one of the most transformative moments you've experienced while guiding others on this path?
um, I think that there have been many of those moments. Um, I, I don't think I can point to
Uh-huh.
one specific moment, but I can say that it has been those aha moments that
Hmm.
people get when they are learning about themselves.
Hmm.
Um, just a few examples. I remember I was teaching at a university in Mexico. I was teaching teachers about positive psychology, and this university was implementing a model of positive psychology throughout the university. And I remember there was a teacher that felt very lost in terms of what she was doing. And I had the opportunity to fly to Monterrey and to be with her while she was teaching. And it was very powerful for me to see how she was able to learn about her own strengths. And I was just a mirror for
Yeah.
her. And how then she was able to realize, wow, I can
Yeah.
make an impact with my students, for example.
Oh, that's amazing.
Um, Another important example was uh, when for example, at the Hope Circuit, I was able to um, receive in some of the messages and some people who
Yeah.
approach me to say, this is what I've always felt inside, and I
Mhm.
didn't know what to do with my longing to
Mhm.
do something good in the world because I felt very, powerless in many ways. So for me, I think it's about these small aha moments that happen um, in small settings and in big settings where people suddenly say, wow, I know I can do this, or I can see myself through a different light, or I realize that it doesn't matter my level of power in an organization or my level of recognition in terms of power or knowledge, or like we tend to think that it is our power
Yeah.
or our position that
Mhm.
will allow us to have an impact.
Mhm.
And when people realize that that's not needed, you as
Mhm.
a person matter. And when they realize that and share that with me, I think that is some of the most amazing uh,
Moments.
moments for me. Yes.
And how do you think we can move from well-being as an individual experience to well-being as a social responsibility?
I think it's about realizing that we are all interconnected. And
Mhm.
it's about understanding that if you do good, I will do better. And if I do better, you will do better as well.
Yeah.
It's not a sum zero game. And I really believe that that interconnectedness is of the spiritual realm as well. We
Yeah.
need to understand that that goes beyond our beliefs, beyond our religion, political
Mhm.
affiliations, beyond our own species. And now Earth Day was yesterday, I believe, and we need to understand the impact we have in the world as in the environment as well, no? So um, there is a concept that stems from Abraham Maslow that
Yeah.
where he talks about our common humanity. And I think that's very important for all of us to understand. And in Mexico, for example, we have a lot of walls, between the houses. And
Yeah.
I remember when I was a child and I traveled to the US, and we didn't see those fences between
Yeah.
houses. Like the houses are open and there is like a big backyard. Some
Yeah.
of that, unfortunately, has been changing lately. But it made me realize, it is only a fantasy to believe that if I build a higher fence, I will live better. I will
Yeah.
protect myself from those around me and I will be safer. And that
Mm.
is a fantasy. What we need to do is to lower the fences and
Mhm.
extend our hands to each other and help each other. So the more we know the people that live around us, the more we are able to engage in community work, the more we are able to see that, okay, I didn't throw this piece of trash to the floor, but I see it when I'm walking on the streets, and it's my duty and my privilege to pick that piece of trash and help the world be cleaner, be better. Those small actions make a huge difference if we all work together and think in a similar way. So
Yeah.
interconnectedness is
Yeah,
the
like you say, I well, I come from South America too, right? And also I studied in the US, and I remember seeing what you were mentioning. But now I live in Norway, Scandinavia. And here actually we continue not having any walls, any fences, anything, because the houses are open. And what you said about responsibility, like for example, you don't trash on the street. You pick up, even if you see something, you learn to be conscious that you can
yeah,
take that piece of paper and put it in a trash can, right? In Norway, even belongings, you can see like sometimes somebody loses gloves, for example, and the first things that people do is to find a higher place to put the gloves for the person who
who
missed,
loves them.
who lost it, can see it, and it can
Wow,
stay for days,
wow,
until somebody will, the owner will come and find keys, um, even the little bicycles from the kids. Sometimes they have like they run to the house for any reason, and they leave just the toys and everything, and nobody touches. That is respect also,
exactly.
that little
Actually,
thing.
that was studied in this last World Happiness Report.
Yeah.
What is the likelihood? They ask people, what is the likelihood of um, getting your wallet back if you
Yeah.
lost it in your
Yeah.
country? And that is a predictor of happiness and well-being because we need to feel that we can trust each other.
Exactly.
And sometimes we feel the whole system needs to change.
Mhm.
And I always ask this question: what is the system made up uh, with?
Mhm. Mhm.
Who conforms the system? Or if
Mhm.
you think about institutions, because sometimes we say corruption needs to change at an institutional level first. The institution, but the institution is made of people.
Yeah.
So it's each and every one of us, we are the ones that can change the world. But we
Exactly.
need to commit to it. You need to have the intention. We need to pay the price. And
Mhm.
by paying the price, it means not being corrupt ourselves, us doing an effort to pick the trash from the floor
Exactly.
or the gloves and to save them and to maybe post it on Facebook. I found this.
Exactly.
We need to start working towards that because I remember I used to be really frustrated when I was jogging on the beach during
Mhm.
some vacations, and it was filled with garbage, and I
Mhm.
remember like every day I was so angry until I decided to run with a plastic bag on my hand,
Yeah, and just
and on
picking it.
my way
Yeah.
back I would
Yeah.
put all the trash that I
Mhm.
could, and I did my part, and I wasn't
Exactly.
completely happy. I knew that the ideal was yet to come, but at least I was doing my part. And I think it all comes down to that. Let's
I
all of
know.
us do our part.
Actually, now that I think, when they mention that Scandinavia, it's one of the happiest places in the world, right? And immediately you think because people is friendly, because people is happy, but now I understand. It's because here they have a lot of problems of, socializing and things like that, because they are very kept to themselves, and it's not easy to make friends, but they relied on your neighbor, on their
Mhm.
neighbors. They rely that if they live like, myself, 3 weeks they will come and their house will be there with their and even if you give a key to your neighbor to come and water your plants, your house will be exactly
Wow.
as you. And even if you are not friend with them, they already know because they see you going in and out, and that is happening,
Yes.
happiness because you feel safe and you can
Exactly.
rely, you
You
know,
can trust
you
on
can
your
trust. Yeah,
neighbors.
it's amazing. And Arlene, we are almost done. I don't want to take more of your time. Two more questions. And what practices, habits, or rituals are your personal anchors when life gets noisy or heavy?
Well, I must say that one of the things that help me when times are heavy and there is a lot of noise is to find moments of quiet and of not doing anything. Sometimes when things are tough, my tendency is to do more, do more, do more. But I find that one of those personal rituals is to really find some space to be quiet and to let go, to not do anything. So I live in a house and I have a small backyard, but I have a swing. That was an addition to my backyard not long ago. And I love going there with my cup of tea and
Mhm.
sitting and just the feeling of, swinging in this
Brilliant.
thing. Uh, Listening to the birds and looking at the trees that are there. And as I said, it's a small place. It's not like we live in this forest like many people do.
Yeah.
But really, nature also is a source of healing for me. Um, I have found that, moving and going out for a walk helps me quite a lot. And also reading spiritual books. I like reading a lot about spirituality um, and like a broader existence beyond the physical
Yeah, yes, I
and,
am.
and and relational realms. So that helps me quite a lot.
Do you have like any favorite writer on that matter, or
You,
you just
well,
read?
well, I read from many different writers, but I have to admit that Wayne Dyer, who is
Mine too.
I love his
Yeah,
writings and I
yeah.
love his teachings, um, and I feel they resound very well with what I believe. So yeah, that he's one of my favorite.
Yeah, mine too. I really respect him and he was amazing. He was an
Yes,
amazing human being.
yes.
Mm, We are at the end, Arlene, and for you today, after everything you've lived and created, right? What does it really means to live with purpose?
Hi, Laura. I for me, living with purpose means to continue getting up every day in the morning, and in the midst sometimes of not knowing if if I'm really making an impact, if my vision is going to come through, if with all the uncertainty there is in the world, waking up every day and continue to move forward. That means for me living with purpose today.
And yeah, it's amazing that every single day when we open our eyes and we are alive and we have a roof and we have food and we are happy and children's are healthy and we are just thank you, thank you, thank you,
Yes,
right? That's
yes,
amazing.
absolutely.
Arlene, it's been just wonderful to have you in the Entre Nous. It's amazing. Thank you very much for your time. And I hope this is the first of many.
Thank you so much, Lara. I really, really appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you, Arlene.